So guys, welcome to this new video, and well, from the first few words you might already realize something is different about this. Well, what this is going to be part of is rather simple. Somehow there are over 100 crazy people out there who actually follow this channel and who enjoy the content and all that is, well, coming along with it. And I don't know how to say this. I'm mostly amazed, but also absolutely confused. There are actually 100 people who watch this stuff. But nevertheless, I'm also super happy and quite proud, to be honest, as well. And of course, I didn't want to, let this moment go by, just like nothing happens. You only get to 100 subscribers once, if you're lucky, I suppose. Therefore, I thought I wanted to give something back. So some special cast I want to do. Sort of a 100 subscribers special, you know what I mean? And since this whole YouTube thing is not just for me, but also for you, or well, the other way around, it's not just for the audience, but also something that I enjoy myself. I also thought that when I do a special, I want to have two parts, right? And I want to make sure that there's one part that is primarily for you guys, so for the consumers, for the guys who watch, who enjoy the videos, who like the wanky humor or whatever, and the wacky humor. And I also wanted to make a few videos just for myself. So some things that are just there for me, just not, it's okay if you say this right here, because this is going to be in English, obviously, this video. It's absolutely okay if you say, no, that is not what I'm interested in. I'm here for the German content. I'm here for Age of Empires in German, which is already hard to find. And I know it is. I know. Believe me, I know. That is one of the reasons why I'm here. But English is also part of my life, probably just as much as German, and also as important for me as German. And it's kind of, I'd say it's one of the, personally to me, it plays a very important role in my life. And that is why I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to do two parts. I'm going to do 3 high-level casts in German, and I'm also going to do 3 high-level casts in English. Those are not going to be the same casts. That is important because this here, right now, Piroshikids and Kévin, that's a matchup that I just found live. So they're actually playing right now, basically. I just hopped into looking for games, and you can just join any ranked game that is online at the moment, and this was the best one I found. I'm quite happy with the matchup, to be honest, because we are talking about Piroshikids with I think plays 59, Kévin 48, so quite close together, but still really high level gameplay that we're about to see, as I hope. And don't worry if you are now worried that there are going to be English casts from now and nothing in German. No. I can assure you that is not going to happen. What I want to do is I want to sometimes sprinkle in a load of English just for my own enjoyment, right? For my own joy and for my own happiness, so to speak. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to put out any less content in German. That is important for myself and important as a promise to you guys, for me. That you know that things are not going to change just because the crazy guy said, oh, he wants to speak a different language from time to time. So don't be afraid. We're going to do this in German still. If you want to watch this in German, if you want to watch their casts in German, I will make sure that both of those casts go online around the same time, so you have the option to actually go to the German one if you dislike the English content, if you're still listening at this point. For those guys of you who do enjoy English content as well, from time to time, let's just enjoy this together, because I will surely enjoy this. Believe me, I have a big smile, big old grin on my face I have had that on my face for the entire time that I've been speaking, honestly. And yeah, that is why I'm really excited to see this. All right, but enough talking, I'd say. Let's just start with the cast and yeah, enjoy ourselves, I'd say. There we go. Of course, I'm happy to see Kévin on my favorite civ right now, which is, well, Haudenosaunee. I've been talking about that in the last stream, and nothing has changed since then, honestly. We saw a lot of Haudenosaunee action, and I really dearly enjoyed that. Hopefully we're going to see something good out of Kévin in this game as well. But also I'm hoping, the thing that I'm hoping the most for is a fair and good game between those two. Meaning that I don't want to see anybody get stumped or something. I just want to see a really, really good game. You know what I mean? With good exchanges, good strategy, and perfect execution. I presume that Kévin is just going to do the usual land start that Haudenosaunee has. 30 wood, so he needs 10 more. Let's see if he gets it exactly right. Yeah, look at that. And there he goes off exactly on the point. Perfect macro there. So really well done, as it is expected. Why play on that level? No deck yet for him. Kévin on the other side, nothing either. Does not get the pass, but it's not that bad because I think he might actually get the next one, get quite close to the next one, so it's good enough. Oh, Piroshikids actually going for the coin treasure here. 85 coin, of course, that is a tasty one. He might, if he gets that one, try to go for hunting dogs, but I'm not 100% sure. He still has 100 wood in the bank, and now he should get his deck. Normal ATP. Okay, he starts off with ATP. Not a surprise there. Interesting deck, I'd say. I'm not too much of a pro when it comes to I'm just not very knowledgeable when it comes to Portuguese. That is a bit of a problem for my assessment here, but not quite a lot of crate shipments, of course. Both wood and coin, that is normal. 700 food, I don't see that too often, but that card is good spice trade. I love that on the Portuguese because they also, like the Russians, for example, they have a need of food, rather high need, because they have those multiple TPs, multiple town centers, and that actually quite quickly makes you utilize much more food than any other civ in the game, because you just have that double build production, if you can keep up with the food, that is, of course. Kévin at the same time doing a rather beautiful job. I don't have to talk too much about this, I think, because if you're already at 600 food when you're going into the last villager, we all know that is a good sign. That is a really good sign. And by the way, this is the standard land opening that I'm talking about, that I will be talking about when the build order guide comes out for Haudenosaunee, because that is, you basically, what you do is you go into getting 100 wood, building the trading post with the 100 wood you have, and you use your travois, which should be somewhere over here. Yeah, you use it to scout. You see that? Did the scouting there, and then you just put down a longhouse anywhere on the map. Basically, it's not that important, because usually if it should be a bit out of the way, you know, not directly next to your enemy, just to make sure that you don't lose that thing in the first 5 minutes of the second age. That would be quite beneficial, of course. But you can just use that thing to scout a bit, and therefore what you have now is a rather good start. You have good XP trickle coming in, not trickle, you have a good XP income, and you are just a bit faster with everything you want to do, and that is the important part of this build order. Piroshikids on the other hand is, of course, faster than Kévin. Could have gone for a 10-10 to be even faster, but probably doesn't want to sacrifice that much economy. And what he's going now, he's just going to go for this entire trading route on the left. So the western trading route, I presume. And does he have House of Braganza? He does not have that. House of Braganza, by the way, if you don't know that card, that is a card that allows the Portuguese player to upgrade the trading route for free in any age. So when you start sending that in, you can immediately just get yourself a stagecoach and afterwards the railroad, which is quite an improvement over the normal rates, and it also allows you to get, well, not just XP, but also resources from the whole thing. Okay, we see that Piroshiki is probably preparing for a rushed attack, but I don't think that we're going to see that. Yep, we got the resources down to the resource crates. That might be an indicator that Kévin is actually going to go for an FF strategy. No, wait, what is he building there? He got a bit of wood, and now he's going for Somali Darab militia. Somali militiamen of the Root clan specialized at countering artillery and ships. What the hell is that going to be? Oh, I'm surprised, because I did not expect that play, but I have to admit I don't really know the Somali faction as a minor faction in this game. So I'll take a look at the stats. 140 HP is not that much. How much range? Oh god, 25 range. That is insane. That is, just to put it into perspective, I think that is 26, if I remember correctly, is the range that that you got on... yeah, I think 26 is the range of a Gatling gun. So put that in comparison. Those guys must be the most accurate sharpshooters in the fucking game. That is extremely good. Honestly. In the meantime, Piroshikids basically on all advanced trading posts on all those sides here. So the entire trading route on the west, in the west, is his. And Kévin actually going for native play. I did not predict this. He also sent in those 2 resources, so the woods probably to get more of those guys out. Oh, there's another unit. Isa Warrior. Attacks close to targets faster. Counters cavalry from range. So a mix between Caroleans and... Gascanias, I suppose? That is a weird unit as well. So Somali, definitely with some weird units in the roster. 14 range though, which is super duper good for a musketeer type of unit. A little bit less attack than I would like to have, but they counter cavalry ranged 3 times damage modifier. So 3 times 14, 42 if I remember correctly. So quite the heavy damage multiplier right there. In the meantime, Piroshiki, does he have... Yeah, he got Stagecoach, makes sense. He put it all on wood, which also makes sense. Why wood? Well, Toby and I have been talking about this for quite some time now as well. Wood is the resource that your villages gather the slowest, meaning that if you have the choice to produce it in building, that gives you the same amount for all your resources, so it doesn't discriminate there. You use that one that you yourself use at the slowest rate in order to kind of utilize that extra economy better, so it's just more efficient to do it that way. But we have 2 town centers and you can't really push beneath it, I think. I mean, those guys have 12 siege, 20 siege here, so the militia is actually quite okay. We're quite good at sieging, but now with all the military out for Piroshiki, I think it's just going to go and... Well, the problem is that those guys actually have quite the range, so that means they counter the crossbowmen. And these guys over here, they actually counter or hard counter the cavalry. So I don't know how easy it's going to be for Piroshiki to kind of defend this right there. Because, I mean, we see he's not really getting any units up because his entire economy is in those 2 buildings. Could actually spread that a bit better to maximize the damage that he has in the TCs. And you would think that their damage that is outgoing from those 2 is enough, but the problem is we have 30% range on those guys, and at least 20. Yeah, but we have 30% range on these units and the Isa warriors, and we actually got the 2nd trading post now with the Sudanese, and that we do know the Sudanese are extremely strong native units. That we know already from all the plays that we have seen with them, be it Hausa or be it Ethiopia. Both of those factions are actually extremely well utilizing, extremely good at utilizing those units for their own benefit. Now, the infantry mass for Piroshiki is dwindling down because there are just so many units on the field, and Kévin just playing this extremely well. Especially for the fact that he's fighting beneath 2 town centers that are both firing at the same time. Militiamen coming out now, but what's it going to do? Kévin here actually native warrior combat. God, I didn't look into his deck, but now that I see it, it's absolutely funny, absolutely fascinating to me that I actually used that, and it's fun to see as well. And his mass is still there. The HP are there on the units, making them better than normal musketeers now, with that extra HP buff. In theory, their attack is still lower than a musketeer, but the problem is that attack is still on 25 range, which, yeah, I already talked about that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now we're going to see the upgrade. 177 HP, so upgrade, and then Silent One's aura affecting the upgrades as well. And what he's doing right here is he's just keeping down the villager numbers for Piroshiki, basically nullifying, at least decreasing his economic advantage, or at least the advantage that he should have if it weren't for 12 villages that are actually not gathering. But now I feel like numbers are kind of dwindling for Kévin as well. and he might have to go back here. Wow, but that was a good shot, and that cavalry has no chance of even doing any damage because the modifiers on those Somali warriors are just so damn strong against cavalry. So now he's doing a great job of, you know, getting those hunts again, because he needs them. He needs to have this eco potential as close as possible to his TC, just in order to be possible to do anything against Kevin's approach here. What is Kevin doing in the meantime? He's Somali Oryx Hide Shields. Okay. Can I? Oh, I can't look at that, can I? Damn. Yeah, well, we will have to find out what they do, but we'll probably see soon enough. On the other side, he's also getting resources now. So I said, oh yeah, he's probably going to go into the third age with the crates, which is a viable strategy. But he's actually not doing that. He's going a different route, and he's staying in age 2 longer, maximizing his his eco potential, probably, if you want to call it that. And he has to pull back some villas because he knows that one Hussar might give him some trouble there. And also, I think he just ran out of the coin mine, which is also more than just possible. And there, the big resource shipment comes in. Super strong shipment. The only civ in the entire game that gets access to 800 resources in H2, but of course at the cost of. I mean, here diversity is a gain, but also, let's say, a negative factor for Haudenosaunee, just because those resources are split into the different kinds of resources. You don't get one big shipment of one resource, so you don't have to gather that one. You have to kind of macro all of them properly to get where you want with the resources that you get from that shipment. And here the Somali warriors workers, Somali Isa warriors workers, superb raiding defenders. That is extremely well done here. And there the Rude Militia gets actually caught out by the cavalry from Piroshikids, and they can't defend themselves because they don't have any modifiers in cavalry. So that means, I don't know if it was a good fake out by Piroshiki, but he actually manages to take down those extremely strong militia units, which do cost 120 resources, especially 120 resources, with 60 of that being wood. So much more expensive than your average musketeer, for example. And it's a bit of a weird position because Piroshiki is now trying to give Kevin a bit of his own medicine, I'd say. So he's really being aggressive here. He's raiding and all that, while Kevin is going to the next stage with the messenger, which is rather beneficial for him. That is necessary, actually, because otherwise he might spend too much time in the second age, and his advantage lies in the third age. The second age is good as well, of course. Haudenosaunee in a prolonged second age have incredibly strong infantry if they get the right upgrades out. But here we see one village after the other going down for Kevin, and Piroshiki now on 43 villages to 34, and all that while almost being able to go into the fourth age after going up to the third one, now on 3 TCs, and suddenly the whole thing doesn't look so good for Kevin anymore, in my opinion. As Kevin's economy got disrupted quite heavily. Okay, now Piroshiki is not going for the fourth age. Would be a bit too greedy, obviously, but I mean, you never know what you're going to get. Maybe I just watched a bit too much. Maybe I just watched too much Kaiser Klein. That is probable or possible as well. Let's say it like that. Also, let's see. Do we have Hussar? Okay, still no upgrade on those guys. And he's still interrupting the eco for Kevin. Really strong play right there. You see points now. He was behind around 2,000 scores, something like that, and now he's just far ahead. But at this point, Piroshiki stops producing villagers. Kevin himself, he produces army, of course. He produces skirm goon, and I do feel that theoretically, Forest Prowlers range-wise alone should beat the army of Piroshiki. And by the way, we are seeing a good fight here. A good fight for Kevin, of course, because he has the cavalry in there. Elite Kanya horsemen, actually. And those are doing quite a number on the skirms. Or at least they tank for damage. And now there's a bad position for Kevin again. Because Piroshiki just got his Dragoon badge in at the same time that he actually got his Dragoons from the home city. from his barracks, from his stables, meaning that now he has a rather big military lead. And I think it's going to be quite hard for Kévin to hold this position right here, because he can't use those muskeriders to fight his fight. And if you compare those two, 20 against 45, those 15% damage basically cancel out that damage. The only advantage they have is much higher health. Let's see how they can utilize it. And now he needs to fight this rather well. But the problem is now they actually took out the chief for Kévin, meaning that all those units lose 10%, the 10% HP bonus that is stacked on top of all the other bonuses. So it's looking rather bleak, in my opinion, for Kévin at this point. Let's see if he can swing back the game. He's actually sending in Sudanese Red Sea trade, so I think it should be 2 builder Travers for whatever reason. Yeah, he can build almost anything except for a town center with that. Some Somali warriors here. And he's now also sending in skirms in order to just increase his skirm numbers. Yeah, 21 skirms now. On the other side, what does Piroshiki have? 18 only. 18 skirms, 16 dragoons. And Kévin might actually be able to fight this. Oh, I did not see those guys. Of course, Piroshiki at the right moment sent in the organ guns, and that is a unit that is extremely difficult for Haudenosaunee to actually deal with. The problem is their range is good. I mean, you see 26 range, so that's just a bit worse for the militia. You know what? Right now I want to see militia for Kévin, because those militia guys could easily deal with those organ guns, I assume. And now he tries to go in for the snipe. Actually manages. No, he gets caught. Ah, he's not able to get the snipe. He can shoot out the first one, so he actually manages to kill the first organ gun. And now the second one goes down. The question is, can he defend now? Because here there are some hussars in his unit actually putting pressure on his so dearly needed forest prowlers. But is he able to shoot? Ah, that is a hard fight right there. He needs to deal with those hussars, but he loses all his anti-cavalry in the process. Also loses silent one again, and now it's a really weird spot for him to defend here because, well, I mean, good. He can actually clear the melee hussars, the melee cavalry, and the shipman is going to be really good for him if he actually gets it out. If that shipman plops here, then he might be able to give some extra damage out on the Cassadors. Well, the problem is he doesn't really have the skirm numbers to deal with his dragoons efficiently, and that makes the whole thing just that much more intense, let's say. In the meantime, Piroshikids on 64 villages, a double batch of Cassadors coming out now, and Kévin just looking to be in quite the tough spots, and Kévin resigns at this point because he sees that. And what a strong game right there. Piroshiki able to push back Kévin's Kévin's native push actually, and although Kévin fought valiantly, Piroshiki takes home the win. Let's take a look at the resources. Yeah, that is immense difference of resources. We see that right here. Even though the 3 units are better for Kévin, take a look at that. 3 resources is probably accounted in here as well. I mean, those all together equal that amount, but I think the 3 resources are also from the trading route, of course, and that just pushed Piroshiki's economy over the edge. Because if we take that away, then we would have 2,000 resources more for Piroshiki, which is not that much for the fact that he has 20 more villages. But yeah, just insane numbers right there. Both of them actually trading positively, funny enough. But in the end, of course, the mass is bigger for Piroshiki, and he loses less units, meaning that he is just able to prevail in this exchange. Villager population. We see that Kévin ahead for quite a long time, actually. Then he loses some in the raids that Piroshiki pulls off. Quite valiant, quite valuable raids there, to be honest. And then Piroshiki just goes off the rails, and Kévin can't keep up, of course, because he's just 1 TC, and, well, Piroshiki has 3, which is quite massive, of course. Military unit population, let's take a look. Yeah, we see Piroshiki much earlier unit. Oh, damn it. Can't look at that. Why? Because native units don't use population space, so you're never going to see native units on here, so we actually have to work with military unit count. And there we see, yeah, this paints a different picture now, doesn't it? For Piroshiki, it's a rather similar graph, but for Kévin, you see he's lots and lots of native units out there. And he actually manages to push Piroshiki down quite a bit, keep him down there, again exchange here, again exchange here. But then, from here, his EQ starts to kick in for Piroshiki, and Kévin is just not able to take fights that are good for him, and gets defeated by, yeah, by Portuguese on land, which is not the strongest civ on land, you might say, but their TP plays are just insanely good if you can pull it off. And obviously Piroshiki was able to do that properly. Let's take a look. Kévin ahead for the longest time, but from here on, 10 minutes, he started to get more and more resources, and that's just, yeah, see that. We also see those small pop-ups every time. So small, if you look closely, we see small irregularities in there, and those for me mark the points whenever you got a pass at a trading post. See, that's so small. It's not a straight line, and for Kévin it's a much straighter line in the end. You see that? And that is what I'm talking about. But yeah, amazing gameplay, and I'm quite happy that this is the first game, because even though I love Horde and Shone, of course, for me it's more important that a game is good than that the civ that I like wins. You know what I mean? That is not my priority. I want a good game. I like when Horde and Shone wins. I like it when they win with a strategy that I didn't know of yet. So I would have liked that here, to see that quite a lot, to be honest. But it's absolutely okay that it didn't happen like that, and just a strong game from Piroshiki. Oh yeah, from both players actually. And I just want to see Somali Oryx hide shields. What does that get? All infantry get additional armor against ranged attacks. Oh yeah, and all hand infantry becomes cheaper. Damn it! And we don't have a single skirm on the field to see if they actually went up to. Ah, what a shame. What I wanted to know is if they actually went up to that would have been 40 ranged resist, and then they would have actually been able to quite effectively trade with the Cassados. But as we see, the Cassados are not the problem here. The goons are, because the goons counter Kévin's counter measure to for the Cassados, and he was just not able to keep up with the unit production at this point anymore. Really strong game for Piroshiki. GG. And guys, thank you for listening to the first of these things, for the first part of the cast. See you in a second with the next game, but probably a few days will pass in between in real time, so don't be intrigued or disturbed if my voice is a little bit different, or if my pronunciation or anything changes, because that sometimes is changing with the time, to be honest. But thank you guys for being here, and see you in a second.